What I want to talk about now for just a couple of minutes is when on video, you've got to sit on their lap. That's my title for you. So when on video, so we're talking to the customer via video or the phone, whatever is your methodology, and face to face as well, I get all that. But what I'm saying to you is you must sit on their lap, on their lap. That's your customer's lap, by the way. Now, before you start writing in on a postcard or sending me via social media, you can't do that, Paul, that's not right. Of course it's not right, it's a metaphor. You must sit on their lap. Now, of course it's impossible to sit on their lap on video anyway, unless you're in Facebook's metaverse, but that's another world in the future. So how then do we sit on their lap? Now, the issue here is that when you're dealing with customers and they raise a concern or two, or they're unsure about something, or they might ask a pertinent question about your charges or something like that, we used to call that in the old days objections, but we don't use that word anymore because objections are a dirty word. Now we call it concerns, issues, pertinent questions, drilling questions, or whatever it is. And I've seen advisors deal with these things and they've heard them all before. That's the problem, because you've read a book on it, or you've been on a training course, or you just heard them before. They come back with the answer too quickly. So what I always recommend is that you sit on their lap before you answer their question. And that's an acronym, as you can probably appreciate. LAP, there you go, is the acronym. And what it stands for this, the L means that when you hear their concern, you must listen to it, you must hear it, you must make sure that you understand it entirely as they are saying it, because it will be different to everybody else's concern, even if it's the same concern which you read about in a textbook or somebody told you about before, or you've heard like 20 times the previous week, because it always crops up. But give them the courtesy of listening to hear what they've got to say. Then you acknowledge. There you go. Now that's just the word that we use here, but what you're doing really is you're just accepting what they're telling you. You're nodding, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, I understand it, I get it. I'm picking up what you're putting down, I'm actually understanding what you're saying here. I do acknowledge what you're saying. Give yourself a bit more thinking time as well if you acknowledge. So listen, acknowledge, okay, I'm hearing you. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I'm pleased you raised that. Or whatever words you want to use just to acknowledge them. And then the P is for probing. Now probing, of course, this is asking more questions. This is to find out a little bit more about their concern. It's polite to do so because often the concern they're giving you may not be the real one. People are genuinely polite. Most people are nice. There are some exceptions, of course there are, but most people are nice and polite. They're not going to be rude to you. So they'll say something maybe just to raise an issue which actually might be hiding something deeper. And that's the case, then you just need a probe. Could you tell me a bit more about that? Tell me when you first started to think about that. Or, what are you comparing my charge to? Or whatever it is, just keep probing a few questions at them just to get a bit more information. Get a bit of a discussion about it, open up a bit of a chat. Now, once you now fully understand what the issue is and you've probed it, then you can answer it or give your response, whatever that is. Then you can come back to it and then find out if that's okay with the customer and then move on to the next stage. So that's really what we're saying. Be careful when you hear a concern, you hear an issue, you don't just pitch in with your answer. Take your time. Remember, you must sit on their lap, but not for real, because that's not allowed. That's not allowed these days. Well, it's never been allowed really, that's in sales. But on video, of course, it's impossible unless, of course, you get into Facebook's metaverse. Gosh, there's a thing, isn't it? Think about it, virtual reality and all those good things. So hope that's been a useful sales tip. Bye.